Brian, let's shift to the West for a moment and the injury situation / COVID situation. Latest on Kawhi Leonard, latest on Chris Paul and their availability.
Well, Chris Paul, guys, during the season, almost every player, most players who tested positive for COVID, unfortunately, missed, usually the 10 to 14 days. I know that there is a window that if you had 2 negative tests in a row that you could have come back before then, but that just didn't happen. And, I have been told that Chris has been vaccinated. He has not said, so I don't want to verify it until it comes from his lips. But, and I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know how that might affect it. But the reality is when you tested positive for COVID, even if you were fortunately symptom-free or mostly symptom-free, you were looking at 2 weeks, give or take. And so Chris Paul tested positive, I believe, last Monday. And so we're now 1 week in. And if he goes another, 5 to 7 days, you're looking at missing another 2 to 3 games. And that is a very difficult reality. It's a disappointing situation. The one thing I would say is that the Suns got lucky in that the Western Conference Finals are on ABC and ESPN. And that is that, ABC has games on Sunday afternoons. And so that was when the Western Conference Finals were going to start. And the Clippers had a very challenging turnaround coming out of Utah, 36 hours to turn it around. And I think that had a factor in yesterday's game, if not just fatigue and the Clippers' opportunity to really install a game plan. They weren't ready for the pick and roll game that the Suns put on them. And so getting that victory yesterday, every win they can squeeze out without Chris Paul, if indeed he's looking at missing 3 or 4 games in this series, maybe he'll test positive today and tomorrow and he can play in game 3. I don't know. But that's huge for them.
What about Kawhi? Where do we stand with him?
Well, the Clippers have said privately that they are optimistic that Kawhi will be able to come back in the playoffs. But attempts for me to figure out when do they mean? Do they mean in Game 7 of the finals? It's a knee sprain, and they have elected not to make public whether it's a grade 1 knee sprain, which could be 1 to 2 weeks, or it's a grade 2 knee sprain, which could be a month or more. So we don't know. It is an ACL from what I've told. And the word sprain by medical definition means that there's a torn ligament. So he is dealing with a partially or minorly or moderately torn ACL. So that is a big reality to deal with. And coming back, there's all kinds of evidence of players coming back from knee sprains and being okay, and other evidence that it just takes longer. So probably only Kawhi knows. And they're not making it public, and I understand why.
Boogie looked pretty good yesterday, but any updates on Serge Ibaka availability, being able to come back and give them some depth?
Serge Ibaka had surgery on his back, and he is out. May not even be able to start next season. That's a blow for the Clippers, especially because in this series, Serge Ibaka would have been so valuable. So on that signing just ended up not paying fruit for them this year. But you look at some of the other things they did, including the fact that they're paying Reggie Jackson a minimum, and they've got a second-round pick in Terrence Mann that's doing this kind of stuff. On balance, I think the Clippers have turned out okay with their bench players.
Last one for me, Brian Windhorst, ESPN NBA insider with us on the Goodyear Hotline. What is your expectation regarding Dame Lillard in Portland?
I think he's committed to there. From what I am told, he has been very involved, or at least maybe not very involved, but involved in the coaching search. He is. I know that he made headlines because he came out and said he wanted Jason Kidd or else, but he's backed down from that and has been actively involved. He has been discussing, from what I have been told, strategy and stuff with possible candidates. He committed to playing for Team USA in Tokyo, which means that his focus this offseason is going to be on basketball, not on demanding a trade or whatever. And I think he's committed. Would I feel super duper comfortable if I was the Blazers? No, I would not. I would feel a lot of pressure to make a great coaching hire and to improve the roster and to become a lot better. But I don't anticipate Dame Lillard going anywhere in the short term.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.